What is up, guys? Welcome to Gran Turismo Sport. We are on the road to Gran Turismo 7 and we are running the Aston Martin DBR9 for this race. Track is the Suzuka circuit and we are up for a great race. Settings for this race: you have tire and fuel consumption or degradation, and you are also required to run all three tire compounds: hard, medium and soft. Starting with some practice, we are on the first entry to the race and we have just jumped in 15 more minutes before qualifying. So I had a few practice runs. As you can see, they didn't go too well, but during the week I had posted a 1 minute 55.976, as you can see on the bottom right. So we tried to replicate that lap as best as we could. Got a little bit shaky out of the last corners on the final chicane, and we ended up getting a 157.8. Very good, but still not too great, can be better. So we run another few good laps, or well, another few laps. Track and car combo is a little bit tricky, as the DBR9 isn't exactly the most agile, but fortunately in this race you do have tuning. And you can see we just overextend ourselves a little bit and end up spinning right off into the gravel, which is very possible in this race. Like no matter who you are, there is that chance to go just a little bit wide and end up in the dust. Fast forwarding, we're on lap 6 of practice, 2.5 minutes before qualifying starts, or well, at least in the lobby opens. Good braking, hitting those apexes, and we get a good run out of the final chicane, almost up a second on our best lap, end up with a 156.9, which is a second better than our best that we had, but we'll take it. So majority of the lobby is in the DBR9 GT1, as the top 10 drivers globally set the best scores in that specific car, or in our region. Heading over for qualifying. Qualifier begins. The qualifier will last for 5 minutes, which will give us basically 1 out lap and 2 flying laps to set the time. As we make our way out of the pits, gonna jump ahead to just a little bit into the lap or into the out lap. We go a little bit wide, just nick the grass, and that sends us into the realm of the dirt. Well, we get back on track, ease our way in, let the other guys pass, because we have dirty tires. We're not exactly going to get the best of grip. As you can see, we're a little bit swirly on those, on the uphill. We'll let the British driver, novice gamer, pass us by into the spoon corner of that very same outlap. Novice gamer takes a little bit too wide and ends up on the dirt as well. I hesitated, as I thought I wasn't gonna ghost there, so I thought I was gonna just knock him senseless. But yeah, fast forwarding on our actual qualifier lap, we get most of the corners pretty much perfect. Really good lap. And as we're getting towards the end, you see we're approaching the Toyota FT1 right in front of us. We get a good run into the spoon corner, and he gets a bit of a bad exit. We get a good exit, which luckily for us puts us right in the slipstream. I'm not sure I'm gonna pronounce his name, Mersden. But yeah, we've got the run on Mersden. You can see how much we're catching up to that Toyota FT1. We're right on him as we get to the final chicane. Get a decent corner, sliding a little bit. It's not too bad, but we end up posting a 156.6. We tried to use the slipstream to our advantage and overtake the Toyota FT1, and ended up posting a 156.8, which still would have put us in first place, as the Spanish driver in second place ends up just under 6 tenths behind us in qualifying. So we're gonna start on pole position for the race. Yeah, I couldn't decide. I didn't know what the tire strategy was, as it was the first entry of the race. I think no one knew what exactly the tire strategy was gonna be. So I was a bit hesitant on what set of tires to use. You could see I was just hovering over the car settings, and I decided to go with the medium compound to start off with. You can see it took me a while to actually change the tires because I wasn't sure how it was gonna go down. Usually when you end up in front, you want to go on the softest tire compound so you can get as much of a gap as you can. But our strategy for this race was a little bit different. We wanted to go for the mediums because getting rid of one of the weaker tire compounds when we are ahead of the pack, we can basically reduce the pace of their race, as we're going to be slower and we can keep them up as best as we can. Now moving on to the grid. I'm not going to show the entire grid. I'm basically going to just show who are the top contenders in this race, the guys you're going to be seeing most of. It's myself in pole position, flashing our lights there to show off a little bit. We got Mago157, not going to say his whole name. We got Zigo Zago, also in the DBR9. 4th place, GTB Gecko43, also in the DBR9. So yeah, that is our main competition you will see in this race. So to head us off, we're going to be starting pole position, traction control. We're going to move up to 1 just to get the boost off of the line, or at least not to spin our wheels. 5 red lights, and we are go for the first lap of 16 Suzuka circuit. Moving straight off to the replay angles, you can see just how many cars there are, a whole bunch of them, probably like 5-6 wide. Margo tries to make a move on the outside and knocks himself way off course, moving him down probably to below 10th place, or definitely below 10th place or so. Meanwhile, we lead the pack ahead of Zigo Zago, but he is clearly on the softer tire compound, because he is catching me on every single corner of the race so far. Cold soft tires has much better grip than medium cold tires. Up and around the hill of the Dunlop curve, going towards the Degner 1, we have at least a bit of a clean run, so we don't need to stress ourselves for that. Taking the apex nicely, but we just go on the AstroTurf and slide a little bit out of control. Don't lose too much position, but going towards the hairpin, we make it clean, no spinning tires or anything, which is a good sign on cold tires. But Zigo Zago is still catching us. He is in our slipstream as well, although we are leaving him a little bit behind, which is nice to see. Going onto the spoon curve, I got it right this time. It's spoon curve, not spoon corner. I have my cue cards here right in front of me. Spoon curve, we get a decent run out, but softer tires obviously will make the run much better. Onto the backstretch, Zigo Zago has another slipstream towards us. He's catching us with some great speed, flat out, just a little bit of a lift going onto the 130R corner, and hard brakes into the chicane, taking the apex very nicely, and a little bit of a slide on the way out to the main straight. Lap 1 complete, and Zigo Zago is still in our slipstream. Fast forwarding onto lap 2, going back to the hairpin, it was relatively close, but we get punted away by Zigo Zago. He's having none of it, as he probably knows now we're on medium tires, and he will take every opportunity he can to get away from us. Seeing the replay, you can see just how a tiny little nudge gave him enough space to move through on the inside. And with that, GTB Gecko has made up a little bit of ground, but not enough to get into the slipstream. Spoon curve, lap 2, we just get on the AstroTurf, but it's not enough to unsettle the car. Going towards the backstretch, Zigo gets a nice run out, but we are in the slipstream this time. Getting our speed, you can see we already started to catch him, but we settle ourselves nicely into the slipstream. We want to keep on his tail as much as we can, but end up on this the second corner of the snaking sliding corners, S-bends, whatever you want to call it. We get onto the dirt, gives us dirty tires for a little few corners. Up to Dunlop curve, we take it relatively slow, play it safe. We didn't want to go off course again. Into Digna 1. Oh, Zigozag had made a mistake, and so have I. We drift across Digna 2 onto the sand again, just nick the wall, which allows GTB Gecko to get by and past us, going towards the hairpin turn. So, a very difficult lap 2 and lap 3. Fast forward, Redragon is now on our tail with the Aston Martin DB9 GT3 car. This is the GT1 car, but it's also a Group 3, which is weird. But now we have another contender. Fourth place is in our slipstream, and he is getting very close. We stay in the middle of the road just to cut him off a little bit. Edge off on the apex, and Redragon goes wide, very wide, loses a second out of it. You can see just 5, 1, 2, all the way up to sixth place. There's about a second and a half between each of us based on the way they're taking the corners over there. Bit of a time skip to lap number 6. Again approaching the hairpin turn, and you can see Zigo has lost some ground as now he has really old soft tires, and the mediums are still in relatively okay condition. You can see just in the top left how we are still to now catching up with Zigo, and also making a little bit of ground on Gecko, but now he is in the slipstream of the Italian driver. So going on the backstretch after spoon curve, we get a better run out compared to Zigo, but Gecko is going to make the move. Yes, he is going into the 130R, gets it done. That's very difficult to accomplish. We almost push our luck and get on the AstroTurf. Luckily again doesn't settle the car. Late braking into the chicane, and we make up a lot of ground on both Zigo and Gecko. Zigo into the pits with his soft tires, which gives me an idea of how long the tires was going to last. 6 laps on softs, that's the breakaway. Lap 7, going into Digna 1 again, and we just go wide again, but this time we managed to score ourselves a 500 split second penalty, 500 split seconds, 5/10 of penalty, which we serve later on in the lap on the backstretch, which loses us a hefty amount of time. You can see we went from about 1.5 seconds to now nearly 2.5 seconds behind GTB Gecko, who is also on the medium set of tires. So our pace is relatively the same. But right now I want to keep pushing because I don't want to lose pace to him, because again we don't know what the tire strategy is, so I don't want to take it too easy and then he ends up out strategizing me on the pits and so on. So moving on to lap 8 is where we make our pit stops. We don't need to refill fuel, there's more than enough to go around. I switch onto the hard tires because I want to get rid of that rather sooner than later and finish the stint on softs. So you can see it's a very long pit stop. We only managed to get to our pit box at 20 seconds. I change over to the hard tires, and you can see that GTB Gecko changes over to the softer tires. So there's a difference in strategy. He's going to be a lot faster for the next 6-7 laps, depending on how long he runs his stint, which I think is probably going to be up until the last set of laps, as most people go with only 1 or 2 laps on the hard set of tires. So we run out of we're in 4th place now after our pit stop. There is a Toyota FD1 right behind us, sizing us up, but he is now on the older tires. We are on fresh hard tires, and Mersden, welcome back. He is now on worn out medium tires. You can see Mepchamp in a Peugeot. He is now, you can see, first, second and third right after the hairpin, and Mapchamp gets overtaken by both Zigo and Gecko, and he is driving incredibly slow. There must be like very used old tires. So end of lap 9, going to the final chicane again, onto the main straight, start finish straight. Mapchamp goes in to have his tires changed, and he has done 9 laps on the medium tires. That's probably a little bit rough, and so has Mersden. Okay. Moving on to lap 10, we are now 4 seconds behind Zigo Zago and GTB Gecko. But skipping on, that stays the same, but Gecko has pulled up 7 seconds on us. Going for our final pit stop, we change over from the hards to the soft tire compounds, no refueling needed, and we come out of the pits in 4th place once again. Guy in 1st place is way back, as you can see on the replay angles, and we are out into clean air. We have free road ahead of us, there's no one in front of us, no one really close behind us. We take a bit of a grass line. We have to get used to the soft tires now. And this next little segment I'm speeding up just shows you on the red bar, in one single lap we have made up a 1.5 seconds on the leader being Gecko. Out of Spoon Curve we just hit the AstroTurf and almost slide ourselves out of commission, but luckily we save it onto the back stretch. Going into 130R with the soft tires now, we can go flat out, we don't need to lift anymore going into that corner. Zigo Zago has made his final stop now. Up into the final chicanes, we brake a little bit too late and we take the chicane relatively slowly, but it's nothing to really cry about. It's a little bit of time lost, but we're gonna make that up with our fresh soft compounds. As we're going past the pits, Zigo Zago does come out, but a fair amount of time behind us, 5 seconds or so. But now he's on the hard side tire compound, we're on the soft, so he's basically out of contention up until we make a major mistake or so, which doesn't look like it's gonna happen, as I was very comfortable with the softs, practice, qualifying, all done on the soft tires, and we set a fastest lap on lap 13 going to 14, 157.941, which means we are really flying now. 22 seconds. End of lap 15, we bring the gap down to 17 seconds, and they have not made the final pit stop, 1st and 2nd place. As you see, GTB Gecko is in, going onto the hard tire compounds. Now our soft is relatively older right now, but we're not losing that much space. Mago 157 also goes in, and will we pass them? I'm sure we're going to pass them, as the pit stop is about 25 seconds before they can actually get out. Into the final lap, and as you can see, there's our buddy Gecko. We fly past him as we head into the first corner of the final lap, and him now being on the hard tires, he has to get used from driving on softs to driving on hard, so it's gonna be quite the change of pace. Meanwhile, we are in our comfort zone, taking our apexes near perfectly. We are ahead by 2.4 seconds at this point, and it doesn't look like he's going to be catching us up. He does make a little bit of ground on the S curves going up to Dunlop, but then starts losing pace very quickly. Degno 1, we take it nicely, perfect, near perfect, a little bit wide, didn't hit the apex on Degno 2. Going up to the hairpin corner, we brake again a little bit late, but managed to save it and come out in style. A little bit of a slide as we get out, going onto the long right-hander. Skipping forward, we zoom past Spoon Curve, no issues. Going into 130R, no lift, and we have a bit of a replay angle there at the bottom left. Take the apex nicely, don't overdo, no overdoing the throttle, and we will come home to finish in 1st place for our first event of the Road to GT7. Our first entry to our very first Road to GT7 event, and we take away the win. Must say, I'm impressed with that. A decent lead over 2nd, a much bigger lead over 3rd. But yeah guys, that was my first Road to GT7 event. Hope you guys enjoy it. Hit like, hit subscribe, hit bell, and I will see you guys in the next one.